So what is a 3D mesh? Well, there are multiple types of 3D objects. They're like meshes, subdivisional surfaces, NURBS surfaces, and in this video I'm going to talk about the mesh only because this is the type that Photoshop uses to represent its 3D object. So let's take a look at the mesh. So I'm going to create a box. So here's my 3D object living in 3D space. Well, this object looks very simple. So it's just a box. So let's see the component that is making this object. So let's just change this. Okay, now the first component is the vertex. So in Photoshop calls it point, but here it's called vertex. So this is the vertex. It's just single point that has x and y and z coordinates. So you can see this. Here's my vertex. Now the second component is an edge. So I have two vertex here, two vertices. This is the first one and this is the second one, and they will connect using an edge. So here's the edge. Now the third component is the face. So you need minimal amount of 3 edges to create a face. But here I have 4. So you can see I have 4 edges. This 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 edges making my face, which is this one. So you can see this is the face. Now in Photoshop you can't edit those edge and vertices and faces. So this is what's called sub-object level. In Photoshop we can work only in object level. So what you can do is you can apply an extrusion, for example. So we will talk about that in depth more in later videos. You can deform your object, so you can create deformations. You can visualize the edges and vertices in Photoshop, but you can't edit them. An important thing to know here, if you're trying to import a 3D object, make sure that you have enough memory to handle that object if it was very high resolution, has a lot of vertices and faces. So let's just take a look at a different objects. For example, sphere. You can see the vertices that are making this sphere. So here are these red dots. These are the vertices that are making the sphere. Then I have the edges. You can see these are the edges. Then I have the faces, and here are those faces that are making the sphere. So using vertex and edge and phase manipulation, you can create very complex shapes, but in Photoshop this is not available for you. But still, you can create some interesting shapes using the available deformations in Photoshop.